Time for second watch on the YouTube and podcast homes for BamaOnLine.com. Travis Reier, senior analyst for BOL, on a Sunday following the Alabama Crimson Tide's 17-3 win over South Florida Saturday afternoon at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. We got a lot to get into on second watch, kind of like the Texas game. There actually was some good. There were some good things to come from Alabama's second victory of the season. Certainly newsy where the quarterback position is concerned. Defensively, couple of takeaways, special teams, a little bit of a mixed bag, although Alabama did step up in the punt return game, as we'll show you coming up in just a little bit as well. But without further ado, let's roll the tape, and we'll start with the first quarter. Alabama in possession of the football. Tyler Buchner getting the start, the Notre Dame transfer. Alabama at this point has had a couple of productive touches involving Jace McClellan. So, kind of like Texas last week, coming off the goal line, getting McClellan going early. And that was the case again on Saturday. Now, get out here to midfield. Alabama finds itself in a 3rd and 6 from 11 personnel with the back alongside Tyler Buchner. We'll run it here. And one of the things I expected from Tyler Buchner, given his experience not only at a place like Notre Dame, where he had started in some big football games for the Irish, but also his background with Tommy Rees, I expected there to be a poise and a calmness to his game. And I think in terms of administering the offense, he was fine in that regard. But as you look at this first third down throw of the game, this is about as easy as it gets. You get Roydell Williams in motion. So you go to empty, and right here in the bottom slot, you've got Jermaine Burton running a simple hitch, and Tyler sees it fine. You do have a little bit of early pressure. That same type of pass rush attack that we saw from Texas, USF didn't waste much time in going with it in this one. Buchner delivers, and it's an inaccurate throw, as you can see. This is as easy a throw and catch as you're going to get on 3rd and 6. But Buchner right there, you're starting to think, a little nervy start for Tyler Buchner. Again, here he is, sees it fine, but the throw just not there on 3rd down. Alabama forced to punt the football. So Nick Saban providing some support over there. And with that, Alabama goes on defense, a 3rd and 5 for USF from its own 16-yard line. Alabama in pass rush nickel here. Dallas Turner, as you can see, drops out. It's a simulated pressure because you got Deontay Lawson coming from that other side along with Chris Braswell. And Brown is able to break contain right here. Look at Dallas Turner close the ground right here. Look at him close up the green. He was sort of in a spy mode underneath, and he gets there and finishes on Brown, forces a 4th down. Here you see it once again. Brown's thinking, pretty good shape here. And then Dallas Turner makes a play. Big day for Dallas Turner at the outside linebacker position. So South Florida is in punt mode. Alabama right now, as far as its return unit, looks like pretty much trying to set up the return to Kool-Aid McKinstry. And the punt is an absolute shank. And here comes Kool-Aid McKinstry, the punt returner, running up, alerting his teammates, get away, get away. But in the process, he gets a hot hop, and it ends up going off of McKinstry. That is a turnover to the South Florida Bulls, the punter for South Florida. Yeah, thank you very much. I meant to do that. Absolutely. But it works out, ends up cashing in for a field goal. So sticking with special teams, no Kendrick Law on Saturday. Terrion Arnold back deep for the Crimson Tide. Terrion looking really confident here on this return, and everything looks pretty good. He hits the seam right there. Look at this move. Whoop. He gets outside, but there is the flag. He easily beats the kicker. Amari Nyblack showing you he can run with just about anybody on this football team, leading the way. Q Robinson as well. And it looks like Alabama's going to get an easy score off of a kickoff return, but there's that dreaded, I guess you could call it the circle of death. You get that red circle on you in the broadcast, it's usually not a good thing. And unfortunately for Jeremiah Alexander, he's losing leverage there and pulls the USF defender or kick coverage unit member with him. I'm not sure that Arnold even needed the block. It's interesting up here, and it also tells you about Arnold's burst. but there's not a lot of space right there. But look at Terrian make that move. Here comes the flag, unfortunately. And the kicker, an easy W for Arnold. Again, unfortunately for Alabama, it's a flag and it's coming back. So 1st and 10 for the Crimson Tide from its own 12. You've got, looks like 12 personnel in the game. Here comes Amari Niblack sliding across the formation. It's going to be a zone run, but you've got an early penetrator for that USF defense. Notice Terrence Ferguson making the start at left guard for Tyler Buchner. When you turn your head and kind of look into the backfield like that, probably not a good thing. So you've got early penetration, and Terrence knows it. He's like, oh my goodness. And so little to nothing there for Jace McClellan on a first down run. You get into 2nd and 9 now, still in 12 personnel. CJ Dupree, Amari Niblack are your tight ends. Jace the single back. And this was kind of a bad break, I thought, for Alabama, because South Florida got the timeout. And if you see the offensive line movement that Alabama, it looks like it's going to be an outside zone into the boundary. And the numbers actually looked pretty good for Alabama on that. I'm not sure. South Florida might have only had 10 guys on the field there. So a little bit of a bad break, I think, because the right call looked to be on there in the run. And now, as we move forward, an absolute rainstorm, a monsoon hits Tampa. So more of that slide movement from Niblack across the formation. It's 3rd and 12, right? And you think in 3rd and 12, in this situation, going to be tough to throw the football. Although if you're running true RPO, look at the top of the screen what you got. You got some space out there if you can work the quick game, but instead it's a give to Roydell, and Roydell barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. So even in 3rd and 12 in a monsoon, a little tougher to run than in dry conditions, because the USF defense is thinking it's awful out here, and this is going to be a run even in 3rd and 12. 3rd and 7 now for South Florida, early in the second quarter, 3-0 the Bulls lead. And Alabama last week at the end of the Texas game got what I call goofy footed a little bit. We were anticipating the pass on a 3rd and 7 against Texas in the fourth quarter. Instead, they got a run, got out of their gaps, and Texas was able to easily convert. This time, you get option action from USF. Pretty bold considering the conditions that you'd even think about pitching the football. But Brown does that. He's going to option Braswell, the play side inside linebacker, who I believe is Trez Marshall, maybe Jahad Campbell. It's hard to tell anymore because you get Marshall, you get Campbell, you get Kendrick Blackshire, but he's caught up in the wash. Deontay Lawson's trying to get over the top. You got a corner trying to set an edge, and then Jalen Key coming over from the safety position at the very end still doesn't look to be 100%. Add it all up, and it's a 3rd and 7 option play in a rainstorm for a first down for South Florida. As we move it ahead now, this is after the delay, and this is South Florida in a 4th and 6 from the Alabama 35. So 4th and 6, first and foremost, you're thinking the potential for a hard snap or an attempt of some kind to draw the defense offside is coming, right? And as we run it here comes Deontay trying to time it up. And if you look at the play clock down there, it's at 3. Now, if it were at 1, Deontay's probably in pretty good shape. But at 2, not so much. So he's caught in the neutral zone, which is problematic enough on 4th and 6. Doesn't equate to a first down automatically for USF. But the bigger problem that you have with this, and this sort of goes back to the standard of Alabama play under Nick Saban, that some folks, including former Alabama players, aren't all that happy with 3 games into the season. Look at the reaction from 2 or 3 of the Alabama players in the front 4 or 5. I guess it's 6 right there. They just stopped playing. But thankfully for Alabama, the secondary doesn't stop playing and is able to force an incompletion. But those are the kind of things, even more so than the mistake, the jumping offside, that I got to think Nick Saban in meeting with his players is going to highlight. This isn't how we go about our business. The play is still live. We don't turn our back to the quarterback or to the offense. You got to keep playing. This is fundamental football. This is 101 football. This isn't even about the Alabama standard. So Now you get into a 4th and 1 for South Florida after the penalty, and it's kind of what I like to call an academy formation, very tight, because you know the run's coming, especially with a quarterback who can do it with his legs. So we snap it here. Here comes the slider across the formation, and Brown's going to pick up the first down pretty easily. Now, later in the game, we'll show you some good stuff from the Alabama defense and how it went about stuffing one of those on a 4th and short. So, 2nd and 10 now for USF, about midway through the second quarter. Brown off of play action. Alabama in the pass rush bringing, I guess, three. Looks like one dropped out there and getting some pressure late, at least. And here comes the deep ball down the near sideline. Can't see it that well because at this point in the game, the broadcast cameras had to be switched to that mode, similar to, I guess, what we saw with Alabama, Arkansas in 2018. Had to go to these other cameras for safety reasons because of the serious weather in the area. But that's Terry and Arnold down at the bottom. Does a pretty good job here as you run it. Kind of gets separated from with a little hitch and go, but recovers pretty well. And most importantly, unlike last week, he doesn't panic at the moment of truth. Keeps his hands pretty clean off the receiver there, and it goes for an incompletion. Alabama football, 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. And I think this is where you're going to see where Buchner had his opportunities to really establish himself, at least as of now, the quarterback. And these are some plays that Alabama has hit on in the past, given the quarterback play that it has had. So you got stacked wide receivers down here on the hash. That's Jermaine Burton leading the way for Isaiah Bond. And you'll see the space that's created here on the snap. And Buchner knows where he's working. And Alabama has something working. Jermaine Burton is running off the coverage. You've got Isaiah Bond bending inside before he's going to take this thing back to the sideline. And about right now, the ball probably needs to be coming out. Isaiah is making his out cut right now. Little bit late, I guess you could say. Little bit underthrown. You're trying to high-low that underneath defender, and he's able to get back into the play and make the play, nearly intercepts it. So timing an issue, arm strength, accuracy, I guess you could point to as well. We'll get into some of this too with another deep shot right here. And you'll love the matchup. And these are throws you have to hit because as we move along in this game, we're going to show you some of the footage and how condensed the windows become when you're not able to hit them. And it is something that Ty Simpson takes advantage of later in the game. Now, ball's out in good shape right here from Buchner. And you can see that Jermaine's got his guy beat. He's on top of that safety, too. He's leaving with that safety, and he's open. And the ball looks great in the air. This looks like a touchdown. And instead, just out of the reach of Jermaine Burton. I know some folks would say you got to lay out for that ball, but we've also heard how many times you actually lose speed when you start diving for footballs, you start diving for bags in baseball. That close. But those are the throws that I think ultimately led to the change to Ty Simpson in this game. Those were the opportunities, anyway, that Tyler Buchner needed to convert on, and he and his receivers were just not able to do it. So 4:29 left in the second quarter. USF with a 2nd and 8. Here's Brown, everything off the back in this offense. He's going to take a shot here, but he gets that pressure early. It's actually the pressure from his face from Chris Braswell that forces him to step up. Dallas Turner does a great job of finishing the plays. You can see it here. Watch Braswell right there. Brown knows it's coming. It's a four-man rush getting some pressure, as it should. And this is an offense that gave up 6 sacks to Florida A&M last week. And Turner just keeps working, and he sees the football. He knows it's available at this point, and here comes the chop. Here comes the fumble. And how about James Smith? With Jaheim Otis out on Saturday, some young guys like James Smith got an opportunity, and right there, the true freshman makes good on a chance. So Alabama football now on the short field, 1st and 10 from the USF 25. And here we go with Ty Simpson. And he's going to give to Jace McClellan. And this is initially some really good stuff from Jace. Kind of makes it happen. Decent blocking off the right side. When we watch the replay, and you could also see there, I talk about the quarterback keep in all of this. It was there from the outset. And we'll show you some instances as to how South Florida just essentially disregarded the quarterback responsibility in the zone read game until Simpson made them pay a little bit later. But it's a nice pickup for Jace there, results in a 1st and goal. Here you see Oots coming across the formation, soften up that edge pretty good with Dupree and Latham. And then it's Jace to the corner. Good stuff, by the way, from Burton downfield blocking around the sticks. If you saw that, he was doing his job downfield as a blocker on that run for sure. So now we go to an overhead look, 1st and goal from the 8-yard line, and you got a free runner right up the A gap for Alabama. And with the protection Alabama has on, you got Jace McClellan helping out with Caden Proctor, and now you got this pressure. You got 2 coming right up the A gap. And credit to Ty Simpson here for getting the ball out and avoiding the sack. I think he understood with what was coming that Oots that you see up there at the top of the screen at about the 3 was probably where he wanted to go with the football anyway. But with the pressure he got from the outset of the snap, a completion was not in the cards, and he did a nice job of just saving a sack there for the Alabama offense. So you get into 3rd and goal here, and I look at this formation. I'm kind of thinking fade is coming. That's Ja'Cory Brooks at the 5. I'm thinking it's going to be a fade there, perhaps. It is not. Here comes pressure once again off the edge, and it's a tough one for Caden Proctor. He is beaten, and we'll see a couple of these with Simpson, and he actually did a nice job of hanging on to the football. On a couple of those, you were thinking the ball was coming out, but Simpson was able to maintain possession. And, right now, Caden Proctor's at a point where if he is left alone one-on-one, especially with speed and bend, it's going to be problematic. And I understand you can't send help to him on every pass play, but right now, you're taking your chances if you leave him one-on-one in those situations. So USF football with 43 seconds left in the second quarter. 3rd and 9 for the Bulls here, approaching midfield. Now, here's that option play again that worked in the rainstorm earlier. Here's Braswell taking the quarterback. Good stuff from Q Robinson right here. Watch Q Robinson run in space right here. Nice stuff from Q. Very nice play on the option. Alabama football a short time later. 2nd and 1 for Alabama in 2-minute mode. I thought this was interesting because usually Nick, is going to take this to the half. But perhaps he's thinking, you know what? We got to get this guy work in 2 minutes because if he's our guy next week in the SEC opener, he needs to have a sense of these situations going into that game. So it's Simpson on a straight drop. You've got 5-man protection, but there's Jace McClellan staying in to catch the outside rusher. You look underneath here. I think that's is that Nyblock? That might be Malik Benson. Either way, Ty steps up into the pocket, and right now you're thinking just go get the first down. I understand though that with the time and the score and the situation, you're thinking more along the lines of chunk plays. But the problem with this is you're throwing back in between 3 guys, and you get a tip football that could get intercepted as well. I think Ty in review, you go ahead and you take that first down with your legs and live to play another day. So here comes South Florida early in the 3rd quarter, 3-3 game. And this is prime fake punt position. And similar to what we talked about last week with shot plays from Steve Sarkisian out around this spot on the field, you'll see a lot of fakes. Think about Georgia, right? In the 2018 SEC championship game with Justin Fields in there on the fake that was heard around the world, unfortunately, for Kirby Smart. But USF going to give it a go here. And man, formations with punts have become so wide ranging, haven't they? Punt team has become like offenses. You got personnel split out, you got motion, you got all kinds of stuff before the ball is actually snapped. It actually drives me crazy. Just get in a punt formation and punt the football. That's the way I see it, but these coordinators are getting out there with it a little bit. So here comes one of the outside guys. He steps inside, kind of looks like he might try to take the snap, but the problem is it's 4th and 7. He's not. He's given the signal to the snapper, who then snaps to the right up back. But Alabama is not in a punt rush. Alabama is in alert, and Alabama plays this really, really well. And that's not a guy, by the way, 47, who's going to make people miss. So if it's not there, 87, he's not going to convert it. Coleman Hutzler likes that. Watch Malik Benson early here, number 11. Kind of pull out one of those punt team guards. I mean, they're pulling linemen now on punt teams. But Benson, I don't know if he was actually trying to do this, but he actually sets a pretty good edge. And if you're wondering where Justice Haynes is, there he is. He's got his head across. He's going to make a sure tackle along with Q Robinson. And it is a fake punt for USF that is snuffed out right there at the 50-yard line. So Alabama takes over. It is now a 3rd and 5 for the Crimson Tide. Simpson still in there at quarterback. Motions McClellan out to the left. So now he is empty. And this is a problem on 3rd and 5. And we'll get into some other things later that'll illustrate why penalties like this are either problematic or extremely beneficial. But Amari Niblack, he flinches after he's set. So now you're playing 3rd and 10. So now the quick game's gone. You know, they were empty. I'm sure they're thinking Alabama is in 3rd and 5. We're going to work the quick game, similar to the opportunity that Buchner had earlier with Burton, but couldn't convert. And the chances of really protecting your quarterback right now at Alabama hinge on the difference in 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 10, because as we roll it here, now you need time to get something to develop so you can get beyond the sticks. And it does not happen. I'm not sure what was going on with Jace McClellan here. I do know that if Ty is thinking Benson is his guy underneath, he never really got to him. When he held the football came down, and now he's not going to be able to pick Benson back up. And with that, McClellan is beaten to the inside, and it's going to be a sack of Ty Simpson. So it's not always on the offensive line. It's not always on the tight ends. The problem for Alabama protection-wise right now, as you'll see as we move through, it's multifaceted. And I know that's something you don't want to hear going into Southeastern Conference play. So 9:30 left in the third quarter. USF has the football on a 2nd and 15. And this is one of those situations that has to drive you nuts if you are a defensive coordinator like Kevin Steele, because you're in a great spot right now. Look at this. If I tell you this is going to end up going for a first down for South Florida right now, would you believe me? Well, just keep watching. There goes Brown. He's out of the pocket. He's out the gate, and there he goes for 16 yards. Now watch this. Alabama, again, with a simulated pressure, brings Deontay Lawson. Okay, you're okay. Lawson, though, can't finish on the quarterback. And now look where your two linebackers are for Alabama, and then look to your right. You've got Braswell dropping. You've got Campbell in the game. I have to have a program to keep up with all the inside linebackers that are playing opposite Deontay Lawson these days. And so now you got all this grass, and you got Jahad Campbell coming off a lower extremity injury trying to run down a dual threat quarterback in space. It's not going to happen. Too much green, and it results in a first down for USF. Now South Florida on a 1st and 10. Now that was good stuff. If you saw that, Justin Aboigbe blew that up. It goes for a tackle for loss for an Alabama inside linebacker, but that was Justin Aboigbe. One of those plays where it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but Aboigbe winning early had everything to do with that TFL. 2nd and 11 now for USF. Brown still in the gun. You've got some early pressure, and here comes Braswell too, and it's more of that flash interior pressure that we talked about last week after the Texas game. But Brown gets the ball out, and look at this coverage by Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's called running the route for the receiver, and McKinstry does it, but we've got offsetting penalties. a hold against South Florida, and then a face mask against Dallas Turner, I believe, in the pass rush. So that interception goes for naught. Alabama, though, ends up with the football here. 6:49 left in the third quarter. Simpson in the gun. More 12 personnel. Seemed like we saw more 12 personnel in this game. I know that Clint Lamb and our staff, they'll break down the snaps and all that stuff for you. But just in reviewing the game, especially in the second half, the pairing of Dupree and Oots was pretty prominent in this game. But here it's Dupree in line, and you got Nyblack off the ball. And Simpson is going to take this snap. And again, he's looking for something down the field, and he's able to get it because, as we talked about earlier, with the throws that you didn't hit with Buchner on the deep out route to Bond or on the post to Jermaine Burton, as the game wore on, you started to see South Florida safeties playing 7, 8 yards off the ball. You could see before that snap the entire South Florida defense in within 8 yards of the football. And you got to be able to do this. You have to be able to do it. And Simpson delivers a very nice ball. Here, look. Now, see, look at the safeties. In 21, he's being nosy off that play action, even. And now he's not even thinking Dupree. Now Dupree's even, and he's working to space. And it's just an easy throw and catch. And Dupree does what Alabama needed, not only for Saturday, but also for upcoming opponents to let them know that if you try to play a 7, 8 yard box on us, we do have the ability to strike for explosives. Not so much on Saturday, but we did see it against Texas with Jalen Milroe and then also against Middle Tennessee. So 2nd and 3 for Alabama here with 5:40 left in the third quarter. Kind of a pistol look here, and there's Roydell. How about that nice cut? Decisive conviction. He gets into the secondary in a much needed explosive run. And now we're seeing a drive where it sort of encapsulates what a lot of us thought this offense was going to be about going into the season, and that was tight ends and running backs. And you're getting both on this drive right here. And there you go. I think Robbie Oots had a whiff there early, came back, and you see there tries to get a pickup block, but Roydell, running strong and decisively, is able to finish that run in a very positive manner. So 1st and goal for Alabama from the USF 6. Here comes Oots in motion from the boundary, and he's going to be off the ball, but in that 3-point stance. Simpson takes the snap, zone read action. He's going to keep, and this is there because now you're getting those USF edge defenders crashing down on run plays, and Simpson is in a good spot. This is a touchdown if he puts it just put it on Oots. But instead, it is low and a hell of a grab by Robbie Oots. I can't emphasize this enough. Watch this. That's a big man going down and making that catch. And let's be honest with each other. At this point in a 3-3 game with the struggles that Alabama's had on offense, do you think Alabama gets in the end zone here? If it's 2nd and goal from the 6 or 7 yard line? Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably Will Reichard ending up coming on and kicking one from about 26 yards out to take a 6-3 lead. As it is, Alabama now in 2nd and goal and is able to run the football with Roydell Williams into the end zone. And yeah, J.C. Latham hulking up. I think the offensive linemen at this point are extremely excited by this approach. And watch Latham here. He gets on this little defensive back, and oof, you'll see it again right here. I kind of wonder. I mean, look at the hands on the DB. And it's kind of a bear hug. And it makes you think, oh no, here comes the flag when you didn't really need it. But instead, it goes for just a pancake for JC. South Florida now with the football, 3rd and 7. And again, able to break contain. This was interesting to me because it was 3rd and 7, and Alabama was really in its big nickel. It really wasn't in a pass rush look because look at the personnel on the field. Jamarian Latham, Tim Smith, Damon Payne. Even at inside linebacker, you got Kendrick Blackshire, who is more of an early downs guy than, say, 3rd and long or 3rd and medium even. But Brown's able to break contain, and here he goes. Big run. This could have gone for a touchdown. Watch this right here. If he's able to finish that cut and give Dallas Turner a lot of credit downfield, trailing the play and getting enough of Brown to make the stop there. Caleb Downs did what he needed to do, but I'm not sure it was enough to stop Brown. But Turner with a nice job there to finish the play. So now you're in a 4th and 2. Here's that academy formation again for USF. Alabama, what do you got? You got 4, 6, 8. You got 10 guys in the box. You got man coverage down here with Terry and Arnold. You are certainly not expecting pass at all. You invite it at this point. But Alabama had given this up earlier. This time, though, you got some edges being set. I thought Chris Braswell right there on the hash mark doing a good job holding his ground. It's not so much about the guys who even make the tackles in these situations. And yeah, Deontay Lawson and Kendrick Blackshire there to help clean that up. But it's guys like even Malachi Moore there on the edge to go along with Braswell. Robert Bala, linebackers coach, pretty happy. Watch this. Pretty good job, I'd say. Braswell doesn't get moved off the spot too much, holds his ground, and those linebackers are able to come over and finish things up. Really took away what Brown wanted early there. He once again wanted to take that thing right up the A gap, but it wasn't there this time. And Alabama with some gap integrity, as they like to say, maintaining it there on that 4th down stop. So 1st and 10 for Alabama with 1:40 to go in the 3rd quarter. Here is Simpson again, off play action, wants to take a shot. This is 8-man protection too. For the most part, well, you've got Roydell staying in. You've got Ooch. You had Dupree. That's 3 to go with your 5. And you still get leakage. And I think this one, if you go back and watch it, Dupree was in good shape there and then gave up the late pressure. And so Simpson goes down. And this is why this next play is why it's also important to not forget about the run game on 2nd and 18, because you can get yourself back in a manageable situation, especially if you're a team that is supposedly based on the run game. And so Roydell is in the backfield with Ty, and you run it here on 2nd and 18. The give to Roydell. You got Jalen Hale in the game at wide receiver down here. The young freshman continues to see legitimate reps on Saturdays. And Roydell makes that one cut. Now he's getting downhill. It's a good job over here by the right side. Oots does a nice job, but it's a lot of Roydell just sticking his foot in the ground and bringing it. And why that's important on 2nd and 18, because look at what you got now. You got 3rd and 5, which brings a lot of different possibilities to be able to convert a 1st down. Similar to the 3rd and 5 Alabama had earlier when it had the false start with Nyblack and got put into 3rd and 10, and then that didn't go so well. Well, now, if you can stay onside in 3rd and 5, you got a lot of different ways you can convert this. And here's the easiest way. How about that at the bottom of the screen? I think the game plan for South Florida's defensive backs were to get physical with 14 whenever he was in the game, because we saw a lot of that with him. But it's an offsides penalty there on South Florida and a 1st down for the Alabama offense. So 11:48 left in the game now. Alabama leads 10-3. You've got that 12 personnel with that pairing that we talked about, Dupree and Oots, here in the 4th quarter. And Simpson going to give to Jace. It's actually Jace back there with Ty Simpson. And you got to get something on this backside edge. He's just making a free run because this is a little bit of a delayed handoff. So that little bit of extra time you need, you can't just give up a free runner on the backside. And as a result, Evans, who had a huge game for USF in terms of sacks and tackles for loss, is able to record one right there. So 2nd and 11, Simpson going to send Roydell in motion. You see 17 for USF. He's going to go with him. And in doing so, it opens up a little bit of a window here for Ty to go to Isaiah Bond. And Bond's an interesting cat because similar to Jalen Waddle, not just in terms of his jersey number, but you're starting to see Isaiah Bond, and have seen really, Isaiah Bond more as an outside guy too. he has shedded at this point that slot exclusive label. Isaiah Bond is going to be on the field if Alabama's in two receiver sets or even a single receiver set, because that's where he's at in the pecking order. And he obviously has an understanding of the different spots, something that I think young receivers don't consider enough. You really got to spend time learning the three primary spots. You're only increasing your chances of reps in doing so. So USF with the football now, it is still a 7-point game with 6:40 to go. Crazy, right? 6:40 left in the game. USF has a 1st and 10 at the Alabama 41 as we run it here. Alabama in its pass rush nickel brings 5 in the rush, and Brown just kind of heaves this one up, and there's Malachi Moore for the big interception. Boy, Malachi has played to the Alabama standard, I would say. On Saturday, if you want to talk about guys who really did that, I would say Malachi. I'd say J.C. Latham. I'd say Dallas for the most part. I'd say Roydell. Need more of those guys, though. Malachi has been really, really consistent and really impactful through 3 games. So pistol formation for Alabama. This is where we heard from Nick Saban after the game talk about turning to the offensive line in the run game and telling them, look, put the game away. So you've got 12 personnel, pistol formation, Seth McLaughlin with a crisp, accurate snap. Here comes that edge again. Here comes Oots getting just enough, and you're getting good work off that left side. You're getting what you need right there out of McLaughlin and Ferguson and Caden Proctor. And here's Malik Benson doing just enough on the edge, but really, Roydell hits the gas right here. And off he goes for yet another explosive run in the second half. He also finishes the play in bounds. You can see there a little washout from Caden Proctor, getting enough of his guy. And here comes Roydell right at you. Only thing I would pick at with Roydell right here is put that football in the left hand. Keep that football to the sideline. But otherwise, really good stuff from the Alabama run game. So it's 2nd and 9 now for Alabama. Keep this time. This is what you've been waiting on. And you see zero there. You see Evans. See, now he's in trail mode because he's been collapsing and just playing freestyling it off the edge. So Alabama finally makes him pay here with the keep in Ty Simpson. And you're able to go get, I'd like to see a little more from Malik Benson there, but you're able to go get 6 or 7 yards with Ty keeping on the zone. Here it is again. Look at zero. Where do you think he's going? Yeah, no one has the quarterback as Ty gets the edge here and is able to put Alabama in a more manageable 3rd down than it would have been otherwise. Now you're in 4th and 2. And again, this is a situation from under center. Alabama did this a couple of times in the game on Saturday. Works out well right here as you go hard count and you get the USF defender in the neutral zone. Darian Dalcourt immediately moves to close that gap, which signals the end of the play and a 5-yard penalty on USF. And you're able to get a fresh set of downs here with 3:41 left. Here comes Benson in motion. You're going to run the split zone. Good job by Robbie Oots there coming across the formation, and there's the hole. Roydell Williams going to score with ease, but hold on a second. There's Clark Kent. See Clark Kent on the right? I think that C on his ref shirt stands for Clark because he comes out of the phone booth with a holding penalty. His superpower must be vision that the rest of us can't see, because this is a hold that's called on Caden Proctor. And you watch Caden right here. He's going to get up on the linebacker. And I guess if you want to say his hands are outside, but I mean, he basically just engulfs the guy and then gives him a shove. Come on. Is that a hold, really? It is. And Alabama is backed up into a 1st and 20 now. But that doesn't seem to discourage the Alabama run game much. As once again, look at J.C. Latham just running more of a simple zone concept. But Roydell's able to pick up 12 yards there, put Alabama in a 2nd and 8 now from the USF 14-yard line. More of that 12 personnel. And here is the pistol give to Roydell. What a great job with the balance, because as you could see there, Oots misses his guy. I think that's Evans again. But Roydell, with some balance and ability to keep his feet clean that we probably wouldn't seen a year ago when he was coming off the knee injury, but it's there right now, and he finishes the run with power. So now you're in a 3rd and 1, and this was maybe my favorite play calls offensively of the whole day on Saturday. Look at this. 2 tight ends, quarterback under center. You need a half yard against an inferior opponent. Look at this surge. Go get it. Go get 3. Go get 2 or 3 yards easily. Okay, now you're in 3rd and goal a little bit later. Under center. Go get it. Go get in the end zone. And they're able to do it, the Alabama offense. Look at J.C. Latham. I think he was having some fun at this point. Just nasty. Playing some nasty football there. And I'm looking for a hat on backwards person in the crowd for Alabama. I didn't find one in this crowd. But it is a relieved Alabama crowd at this point as the Crimson Tide goes to Tampa, weathers the weather, weathers a change at quarterback in game, weathers a 3-0 deficit, weathers continuing issues on the offensive side of the ball. It was not a championship performance. This is not a championship team 3 games into the season, but there's still a long ways to go and plenty of intrigue coming up this week for Alabama during the preparation for Ole Miss and the SEC opener. Is Ty Simpson the guy this week going into that matchup with Pete Golding's defense these days over in Oxford? Stay tuned to BamaOnLine.com. We're going to update you throughout the week as best we can. We've got Charlie Potter, we've got Clint Lamb, we've got Jimmy Stein and myself from the team perspective. And then, of course, recruiting, you're talking about Joseph Hastings, Andrew Bone, and of also our site publisher, Mr. Tim Watts. Travis Reier, thanking you once again for joining us here on Second Watch. And until next time, so long, everybody.